Good morning and welcome. This is Pastor Lucy Painter with your daily insights. And today we continue with the topic of discernment. Discernment day 2. Yesterday we said that discernment is the ability to judge well. It is the ability or the process of determining God's desire in a situation or for one's life, or identifying the true nature of a thing. And so today, I want us to just talk briefly about discernment in relation to the people we meet for the first time or people we relate with. And I have chosen two people to elaborate this issue of discernment. The first one is Abraham. At one time, Abraham entertained guests. He didn't know them. He entertained 3 young men, and he didn't know that these were angels. And in Genesis 18:2-5, the Bible says, Abraham looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he hurried from the entrance of his tent to meet them and bowed low to the ground. And he said, "If I have found favor in your eyes, my Lord, do not pass your servants by. Let a little water be brought, and then you may all wash your feet and rest under this tree. Let me get you something to eat so you can be refreshed and then go on your way. Now that you have come to your servant." "Very well," they answered. "Do as you say." So, from reading this text, an ordinary eye would just see 3 men. But when Abraham looked through discernment, he saw beyond the nature of the 3 young men. And that is why he hurried to the entrance and he bowed down, because to him the discernment, the gift of discernment was able to identify these are not just ordinary men. This must be angels. This must be the representatives of the Lord. And he bows down, and we know the story. He was able to host them, and from that fellowship they had, one of the men proclaimed that at a time like this Sarah would conceive, and we know how it went, and Sarah laughed because it was beyond what human imagination could imagine. And so we find discernment evident in Abraham. He would have left those young men pass by or would have ignored them. But because he had discernment, he knew he had to act, and he judged them well. So remember, we are talking about discernment, and discernment is the ability to judge well. The other person is a woman who I call the woman of Shunem, and that is what we are not given her name. We are just told about this woman who lived in Shunem. And the Bible says in 2 Kings 4:8-10, "And it fell on a day that Elisha passed to Shunem, where there was a great woman. She was a great woman, and she constrained him to eat bread. And so it was that as often as he passed by, he turned in thither to eat bread." So this woman asked him kindly, "Come in, have some bread, have a meal." It was common knowledge that Elisha was a prophet. And as he was passing by, this woman, despite her greatness is accredited to her wealth. She was wealthy. She asked the man of God to sit down and have bread. And it was so. In the midst of those days of having fellowship, one day she said unto her husband, "Behold now, I perceive," and that's the word, I perceive. You can say I perceive or I discern that this is a holy man of God, which passed by us continually. Her discernment is seen from the interaction she interacted with Elisha. She was able to judge well and know that this is not just an ordinary man. This is is a holy man. This is a man of God who passes by. And because I perceive, he says, let us set for him there a bed and a table and a stool and a candlestick. And it shall be when he comes to us, he shall turn in hither. So after perception, after discerning, we find that Abraham took action. This Shunem woman took action. So after discernment, action is required. And the actions you take are the ones to show us, what did you discern? Were you able to judge well? Were you able to judge well? So this is Pastor Lucy Painter talking about discernment. This is day 2. We continue with this topic, and I told you that I will share with you how discernment has been at work in my life, how sometimes I've made the wrong decisions and how it has affected me, how I have made the right decision and how it has resulted in that. So discernment is the ability to judge well. And remember, discernment is a gift, and we need to activate this gift. We need to use it, especially at these times, because deception and manipulation is very prevalent. Shalom, this is Pastor Lucy Painter with your daily insights.